All right. Well,
Got
this is
it.
our class 4, and this is our 5 piece. Thank you, Mark, for coming and
Thank
sitting
you,
with us.
Mark.
All right. So I think we discussed amongst us that Homer was going to go first, Chelsea was going to go second, I'll go third, and then Brantley, you'll go last. Sounds good.
And
All
a
right.
fifth
So I'm
person didn't show up. Teacher.
right. So I'm going to mute my device, and Homer, you can go, and y'all just take it away. And as soon as everybody rotates through, I'll hop in and do my spiel, and then Brantley will go last. Mute.
Hey, I need somebody to have the timer going.
Did you say timer?
You're muted. You're muted.
He needed a timer, but I'm downstairs. My phone's upstairs. So if somebody can take a
Here,
time.
I'll do the timer. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. Just let me know whenever. Do a little countdown.
Yeah. Hold on a sec.
But before we do that, I gotta state what the circumstances are. So
Yeah.
computer building class. My topic is informative. If y'all don't remember last week, I got them mixed up. But informative computer building class. I'm gonna be talking to a class of like 20 people. All right.
Okay.
I'm a teacher.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. So how's everybody doing? You probably took this class because you want to know more about computers, whether it be your curiosity sparked on your own, you're itching for a new hobby, or your cat accidentally walked across your keyboard and scheduled this class for you. You know, either way, my name's Homer, and I may know a thing or two about the assembly and functions of computers. I'm just kidding. I've been building computers since I was in the 5th grade, starting with a curiosity, taking apart my sister's phone, and not being able to put it back together. You don't even want to know how much trouble I got in. All the way to building my first miniature laptop or netbook, as they were called. You know, computers and I go way back. We're going to go over the prep work required for assembling all the parts, each main component of the computer, their functions, and how they all operate together. All right, so to start, computers are all around us. I'm sure you're aware that you think you're taking this class from a computer, but if you think about your phones, your tablets, your Nintendo Switches, for example, each one of them has the basic components included in every computer, just repurposed for different uses. If you think about it, you got your phone for comfort, your tablet for productivity, and your Xbox for entertainment. You know, each one of these devices includes the same basic things in each one of them. Try to think of this whole process like assembling adult Legos, except with much more satisfaction. So find a clean workspace and let's get started. Before this, we got to consider something. You want to get in the building, but you don't have the parts yet. You know, you can't run until you learn to walk first, and the planning process is arguably the longest step of them yet. I used to spend hours watching unboxing and reviewing videos of dozens of components to make sure they were compatible, efficient, and worth their price to value ratio. Nowadays, planning is made super simple using a website called, not advertised by the way, PCPartPicker.com. PC Part Picker carefully outlines what the components are required for building your first desktop computer, which is easy, user-friendly layout. On top of this, the website automatically checks the compatibility, things like generation or wattage, the component generation, and hold on, and displays an estimated price for the item on the current market, whether it be Amazon, eBay, Newegg, or etc. This is just the shopping phase. Just like how you will when you go to JCPenney to get some clothes. You gotta try them on first before you buy them. I'd recommend going. Give me a second. All right, so I'd recommend going a step beyond this, researching each part on your own in order to get a feel for what others have discovered about the product, whether it be just seeing it outside the box or any more technical details you can find. Think about giving your people a house to live in. You know, we gotta start with a case, right? Our PC case is gonna hold all of our components in place and promote airflow, among other things. There are different sizes of PC cases, whether it be EATX, which is known as full size. You know, it's literally almost 2 feet tall, all the way down to mini ITX cases that can be less than a foot tall. It all depends on your preference, how much space you've got, and how much you plan on installing inside. Make sure to get creative though, because there's endless colors and designs to choose from. Today we're going to go with the Cooler Master Master Box, which is a micro ATX mini tower case. Here is a picture right here. Can you see that? All right, so starting with our motherboard, this component is going to allow all of our other components to communicate with each other. Everything from your storage to your video output on your monitor. It also holds a bunch of other functions, but we want the basics right now. So the motherboard I've chosen is ASRock's B660M, which will fit into our case, support our RAM, and all of our other components. And I'm showing pictures because I do not have a PC in front of me. I'm using it to record right now. Here is the picture of our motherboard. All right, up next, we have to carefully install our CPU or central processing unit, which acts as the dictator or of the computer that orders everyone around. This is a delicate process because depending on your type of CPU, you'll have tiny pins that'll bend if mistreated. Trust me, I've bent one before, and that'll damage your entire CPU component. Don't let this scare you though, because a CPU, as long as you're careful, it will just fit snugly right into its slot. There's nothing else you have to do besides just lay it down into a socket. Today we're going to go with the Intel i3-12100F, with i3 denoting how many cores it'll have, 12 designating its latest generation, and the F meaning, which is its suffix, the F meaning it's requiring a separate video output. All right, here is a picture of what a processor looks like. All right, after this, we got to install the RAM, or random access memory. RAM gives applications a place to store and access data on a short-term basis. It's the short-term memory. It stores the information on your computer that's actively using, so it can be accessed quickly. The RAM we've chosen is Silicon Power's 16 gigabyte DDR4 memory. DDR4 meaning the latest generation of its speeds that released in 2014. And here is our RAM that we've chosen. Two little sticks right here. After this, we need a place to install Windows and then store our data. We need to choose a storage option, which, like everything else, takes many forms. There's SSDs, HDDs, and even hybrids of the two. We've come a long way. Despite this, everything has advanced to blazing fast speeds. The storage we're going to choose in our case is Silicon Power's 512 gigabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. Now, it's a lot of words, I know, but M.2 denotes the form factor, while NVMe describes how fast the data speeds are. You don't want to be 30 years old by the time you open up a document. Here is a picture of our storage option. It looks like a little stick, pretty similar to our RAM, but it's going to be a little smaller. Everything's going to be heating up in our case due to the electricity flowing and intensive computing that we're using it for. And with the help of fans and coolers, we can keep our PC from being a space heater. Normally your CPU will come with its cooler and your case will come with fans. But if you ever decide to upgrade, you can customize your cooling options with lights and colors, just like any other component. It's like your case. Well, up next, did you ever stop to think about how we're going to get the power to turn on your PC? If so, you're absolutely right. We need a power source. We got to install our PSU or power supply unit. Needless to say, make sure to handle this part as carefully as anything else. There are a ton of different types of power supplies, each with a different wattage output, depending on how much power your case is going to draw. Luckily, as I mentioned earlier, PC Part Picker will calculate all that for you. The power supply we've chosen is Thermaltake's 650 watt power supply. Here's what a power supply looks like. All right, so at this point, you have a bunch of cables lying around in your PC. It looks a mess. We're gonna make it work though, because we gotta plug in each of our components into our PSU and our motherboard in order to get them up and running. Then route all the extra cables into the backboard case. Out of sight, out of mind, right? We gotta make it look pretty. Last but not least, we have our GPU, or graphical processing unit. Are you noticing the trend here? What's with all these acronyms? All right, this component, like our CPU, is important because it'll help applications with generating a visual for us to see and also connect directly to our monitor in order for us to interface with the computer. It's going to be where you plug your display port, HDMI cables, and if you're older, you might know about like DVI-D, VGA, and all that. But right now we're going to install the Radeon RX 6600, and here is a picture of that right here. And that's it. You know, now we have all our components installed. We're gonna boot it up. So put the case cover back on. And at this point, since we have everything installed, we can get the operating system up and running. And after that, you know, you're free to do as you please. In the end, isn't it interesting how everything works together? And I didn't go into too much detail because that's not the intent of this class. We just want to put a PC together. But honestly, don't hesitate to Google any questions. You now have a functional computer capable of acting as a workstation, playing video games, editing videos, you know, getting schoolwork done, whatever. The choice is yours. And since you've done it yourself, you can even spread the love to your friends or whoever is interested in getting their first build done. Every great journey started with a single step, and you just scratch the surface of what the PC building community is capable of. But congratulations. I know you've had questions along the way, but I hope your journey has been an easy one. You can now use your computer for whatever you want. All right. That's it.
All right.
9:46.
Come down just a bit. We can't see it. Come down on your camera. We can't see his time. There you go.
That was 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, it was long.
Sorry.
Can you see
That's no,
it?
no. Yeah, I can barely see it. What time is it? It's like 10 minutes.
It was 9:46. It's right.
Okay, now I can see it. 9:46. You're too close. You gotta come back some. Back off of it some. And come down. Down. There you go. Good job. Good job. Okay, Homer. So you have to answer the question. What was it? What you did good, what you did bad.
Let's see. All right, what did I do well? What y'all think about my body language? I think my body language was pretty good. I had a good, you know, power stance, like Amy Cuddy had talked about. I got a good, I guess, volume to my speech, which was good. Good eye contact and pacing. I did have to adjust my notes a little bit, which did suck because I forgot about doing that. And I was also affected by not having like the components in front of me because I'm using my computer to, you know, for our Zoom call right now. I can't, you know, take it apart. So I hope y'all were able to see my pictures kind of well. You know, I tried to provide at least the visual for y'all to make it, you know, cut and dry.
No. Okay.
But yeah, what could I have improved on? Okay, so when I recorded this, it was only like 6 minutes, and I can't believe it took almost 10 minutes. That's crazy. Sorry about that.
All right, so your timing could have been better. So that's what your critique on yourself. All right, thank you, Homer. I learned a lot about computers and its internal workings and all of that. Go grab Chelsea. I suggest you grab a swig of water before we start because you're coughing and you may get dry while you're going. So grab a little swig of water. And sugar. Still don't have. Brantley, do you have a timer you can help us out with, or Homer, you have a timer?
I got a timer. I can run it.
Thank you. Big help. Big help. All right. So I'm gonna mute myself in between the two.
Okay, so my speech is again following the homeschool theme, the co-op theme from last week. I am at that same 5-story church and talking to probably like 40 parents of like people that are considering homeschooling their kids. It's like a should we homeschool our kids meeting for the co-op. I think that's everything. So I guess I'm gonna start. Okay.
I'll start on like whenever you just roll.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, and welcome to everyone to our biannual Should We Homeschool Our Children meeting. We do this twice a year, obviously, and it's so nice to see everybody out there. This is a bigger turnout than we had at our last meeting, so that's really exciting. Um, only have like 7 minutes to talk on this, so I'm gonna go ahead and dive right in because I could talk on this for like 7 years. My name is Chelsea. I am a recently divorced, now single mom of 4 kids: Atticus, Scout, Wilder, and Phoenix. Um, and that brings me to my first pro about homeschooling. All my kids go to the co-op here, and homeschooling provides more time with my kids. Being newly divorced, I used to be a 24/7 stay-at-home mom for the last 6 years, and now I have to have a full-time job and provide an income for my children. So I'm thinking like all the time about how like some weeks I have to work from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. like Wednesday through Sunday. What if I had to share that with the public school system where my kids are putting in their 35 hours a week too, and our schedules are overlapping? I only get like a couple hours with them throughout the week. Um and like that brings me to my next point. I know a lot of you are probably thinking about like, what if I have a full-time job? How am I supposed to full-time homeschool my kid and have a full-time job? And that's the beauty of homeschool, is that you're not replicating the classroom at a public school system. You are doing whatever works for your family as long as it's keeping them up with where they should be. Like, you could do a subject a day or a couple of 5-hour days. You can take it on vacation with you. I can't tell you how many friends that I have that are like full-time traveling because they have work from home jobs and they homeschool their kids. And so they can just like go wherever they want, whenever they want. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to like front load all my schoolwork at the beginning of the week. I was homeschooled also. Um, and like I
Is she frozen?
get all my schoolwork done on like a Monday and Tuesday.
All right, you're good now. Keep
Is
going.
there
All right, yeah, we can hear you now. You were frozen for a second there.
okay? I don't know where to start up again.
Nah,
Wait for the rest
just
of
continue. You're
the
good. Yeah, just continue where you left off. That's all.
I like to front load all my schoolwork and have a 4 or 5 day weekend. And which leads me to my next pro about homeschooling, which is that you can cater to your kids' individual learning styles. Like I have my daughter who is a very like listen and watch a video or a demonstration or a how-to video learner, and then I have my son who's a very hands-on and has to like pick it up and look at it, and like he wants to learn how to read. He loves stories, he loves looking at books, he doesn't like waiting for me to have time to read to him all the time. So and like we were starting to work on reading, and like he did not enjoy the flashcards and working on the sounds and sight cards and hooked on phonics and all that. And so finally I said, build me your alphabet out of Legos. And like he has taken off from there. He built his whole alphabet out of Legos. He puts words together now. He recognizes words in books, sounds things out. Like that is a learning style that like he absorbs information quickly, and he has the opportunity to do that because he's homeschooled. And furthermore, my younger kids, my 1 and 2 year old, are learning just because they're in the room all the time and they're exposed to what my other kids are learning. And finally, one of the biggest things that people constantly ask me about, non-schooling, homeschooling families think about, and their biggest concern seems to be, uh, how are your kids socialized? And like, to be perfectly honest, for me, by the time Sunday rolls around, Sunday is our day to just relax and hang out with our family because we spend so much time throughout the week socializing with other people. My kids are very socialized. And I see that in public school, it feels like a very artificial socialization structure just because of what other period in your life are you spending your 40 hours a week with about 25 other people who are the same age as you and doing the same thing as you. When you get your job, you could be working with someone that's 16 years old to 90 years old. You could be 30 years old with an 18-year-old boss. You have to be able to interact with anybody. And my kids are homeschooled and in 2 co-ops. They go to one on Tuesdays that is outdoors and with 120 other kids. This one is here and 200 other kids. One's in karate, one's in ballet. They're both in church activities. Like outside of birthday parties that they're invited to on Sundays, we do not socialize on Sundays because that's the only day we don't have to see people. Anyways, I'm probably I'm to see some of your names. New sign up sheet.
Can't hear you, Chelsea. You're completely stopped. Oh, Chelsea. Chelsea? Still there? Yeah, she's completely up. She lost her connection.
It's the first
Okay,
time.
so Brantley, I guess we're gonna stop her time. Maybe she will. Hi. So
Oh,
we
there
stopped.
she is.
How much did it miss?
Oh my goodness. It just it started going. I was like, no. All right.
Yeah,
So
we started losing you around. You were saying something about running out of, and then it just kind of went out the
Yeah.
window from there. But
Running
about
out.
the time when
No.
you started going out, you had already hit over 6 minutes. Like I've got you stopped right now at 6:48.
Okay. I thought this one was like 7 to 8 or 6 to 8 minutes.
it is.
Yeah, it's 6 to 8
Going
minutes. So you're
out.
you're inside of your window.
Except we don't know how much of my speech we lost, so maybe I went 3 minutes over. Crap.
Okay. So what do you want to do? So
Uh,
you want to come behind me and go again? I know she's like,
where?
I think Chelsea, are you aware who's on your internet right now?
Listen,
Are your kids
there's
using like Netflix or something?
no, not my kids, but that is the laundry happening. I'm in the basement, which is the only place that I have to do it. And my dad is working on the internet. He works from home. What is the last, like, I know you said that it said
So the
last
last
name, like
thing,
the last subject.
so you were at the end. It sounded like you were coming up on the end because I think I heard you say I'm probably running out of, and I'm assuming you were about to say time. And then I
Yeah.
heard a bit about sign up or something
Okay,
along those lines.
so it was literally like the last 15 seconds. I said, like, it was awesome to see you all here tonight. I really hope we're able to tip the scales for some of you towards homeschooling. It would be so awesome to see some of the names that are here tonight on our signups for our spring co-op session. So that's like
that was the end.
the end of what I was saying.
All right. So that comes back. Do you want to go again?
Not really, not for the last sentence.
I
Okay.
think um
Listen, I've gotten good grades on the other speeches. I'm just gonna take the loss if I have to. I don't want to give a whole 8-minute speech again for one
no,
sentence.
yeah, Chelsea, you're
I'm
good. We only lost a
I'm
maximum
sorry, I don't.
like 30 seconds of your speech.
Yeah.
Only.
Like
we
it
don't
was
like.
literally a sentence, so I really don't want to redo it for
All
that.
right.
Yeah, and
Look, I'm just calling whatever you call.
like I said, you're inside of the
No, yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. We're just gonna
So
not. I'll say
Okay.
I'll take the couple. It was definitely under time at the very least. I would say one thing I could do better is maybe I could eventually give my speeches not in a basement. Um, also, I probably should have thought about turning that off first. I didn't. I thought it was done with its cycle and then it started again while I was talking. Um, one thing I did good would have been my pacing if the internet hadn't been janky. Um, Another thing I did good was, I don't know, probably my order. One thing I could have done better is remembering to turn off the laundry equipment. And I feel like I talked really fast. It's hard when you're trying to give a persuasive speech to like fit everything into 8 minutes. Like all day long, the about me
Feel you.
speech, I can fit it into 3 minutes, but something I'm interested in. Um, so I guess that's it.
No, you're absolutely right.
All
Time.
right. You did well, Chelsea. So,
Thanks.
all right. I guess that leaves me next.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, so I'm going to talk about the pros of moving abroad, Belize to be Pacific. Um, uh, so I'm pro moving to Belize. My intended audience is just a small group of friends, a social gathering. We're just hanging out, having a conversation, basically about what our future plans are for retirement. It's about 17 people in attendance. It's a small setting, like I said. We're at a barbecue. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. We're chatting it up. Um, So that's it for the beginning of the speech. If Brantley, if you want to do the time again,
Yeah, I'll start
and
on your go.
that would be perfect for me because I don't have my phone down here. So here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Well, hello everybody. I know all y'all know me because we hang out all the time, but just to remind you, my name is Tasacia Darden. And we were just sitting around talking about things that we want to do in the future. I'm close to the age of retirement. So I'm looking at, maybe possibly moving abroad. Being an expat seems like an ideal situation for me with all the social injustice that have happened here in the United States. I feel like it would be a great opportunity for, to live abroad. I feel like the United States, we normally just, visit tropical countries and, Central America, things like that. But I feel like we, should do more than just visit. I feel like, moving to Belize would be a great opportunity. So a little bit about Belize. Belize is a small country in Central America. It's nestled just below the westernmost tip of Mexico and is on the western edge of the Caribbean Sea. It's a country full of history, beauty, and opportunity to live an easy and stress-free life. They move at a whole different pace down there. It is very much a slow pace. I was reading just the other day, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, that Belize has officially become an independent country back in 1991 after being a country run by being a British colony. The reason that I know they were a British colony at one time because their government is run very much like the parliamentary system that is in Europe and England to be specific. The primary language in Belize is English, and it's in fact the only country in Central America that is English speaking. They also speak Creole and Garifuna. So Garifuna is a dialect from the Garifuna people who are African slaves who were brought there and the Mayan people. It amazes me also that it's so easy to get to Belize. It only takes a 2 to 3 hour flight to get to Belize from like Miami or Dallas to get to Belize City, which is the largest and most populous city. That's about the same time that it would take me to get from Philly to New York, which blows my mind. I can be in tropical paradise in less than an hour, or a couple of hours rather. Toes in the sand, as they say. And the weather there is absolutely phenomenal. So year round about 80 degrees. And who wants to be in the Northeast for Christmas when you could spend it in shorts and a sun hat? My first experience traveling to Belize was last year. All international flights to Belize, and coming through customs is super easy. Of course, tourism is a major source of income for the company, but every interaction with all the Belizeans does not seem transactional. It's very much come into my home, enjoy, be with me. And they're very welcoming to newcomers. Some of the final destinations of some people we met when we were traveling was the Cays. So you have Caye Caulker, you have Palencia, you have Dangria, you have Hopkins. I really loved Hopkins. Hopkins was phenomenal. Driving through the countryside from the airport after we came from Belizean airport on a puddle jumper to another 15-minute flight to another part of a part of the country, we were able to see all types of things, all the different shades of people, as well as the countryside being green and lush and flourishing, growing oranges, which aren't orange, by the way, they're green on the tree, mangosteen, star fruit, cacao, which is chocolate, by the way, which is a major export from Belize. They make some of the best chocolate in the world. Speaking of chocolate, let's talk about food. The food of Belize, oh my goodness. Now they have everything there, pizza, Chinese, but you will not find a McDonald's, you will not find an Applebee's, you will not find an Outback, anything like that. It's all, fresh and natural. Preservative free, might I even say. Some of the delicacies I really loved when I was there was pibble, which is basically a pork dish which is cooked in the ground. So they dig a hole in the ground, they place the pig inside with some banana leaves, and they leave it set overnight, and that cooks and steams the pig. And it's the most succulent meat you have ever tasted. It was so delicious. I can't wait to get back. And the Belizeans are always amped to tell you where you can find an authentic meal. Most of the residents work in their own communities that they live in, whether it's at a local resort or they have a small business. Most of the dollars there are reinvested in the communities. Do you know that the Belizean dollar is 2 to 1? So for every 2 Belizean dollars is worth 1 American dollar. So you can do a lot with your Belizean cash. And here's a Belizean $2 bill, just to show you. Couldn't see that. There you go. Belizean $2 bill. The government is very welcoming to expats. They have a whole entire program that's devoted to allowing people who are 45 and older and receive $2,000 worth of income outside of Belize. They allow you to move there. And once you move there, they allow you to, get tax breaks and have all these different opportunities in order to move to Belize. The QRP program is definitely worth looking into if you're looking to be an expat and live in a whole entire new country. They allow you to bring all of your personal items in and allow you to, live, basically, give you residential property and help you do all of these things in order to live in Belize. Given the intent of the QRP program, the weather, the cost of living, and so many other benefits, it's a no-brainer to me that when the time is right, let's do this. Who wants to be my neighbor? Because I'm going to Belize. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, I feel like I was super short. I cut out a lot.
Nope.
All right.
Hard to see. 6:38.
Woo! What I did bad is I felt like I was stumbling this speech because I don't like to try to sell people on stuff. I'm not a salesperson. I don't like to be persuasive at all. I'm very factual in the way that I speak, so I feel like I did all of that horribly. I don't like persuasive speeches. My paces was good. My body language was good. I didn't do a lot of ums and ahs, which was good. I felt like I was stretching it out. I was a little stressed because I was speaking in front of someone who knows me. So I was speaking in front of my spouse who's here cheering us on. So that made it a little harder for me. The delivery of the speech, I think I did well. The writing was great. What could have improved? Um, I probably could have slowed down. She tells me to talk fast, so I probably could have slowed down and stretched it out a little bit more. I'm sorry, my peanut gallery is critiquing over here in the corner. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have very much else to add. You're up next, Brantley.
Easy day.
Uh,
So
so who's doing your timer for you?
that is a great question. Here, let me adjust this really quick.
Hold on, let me see if I can. I
Everybody
have
can
a.
see me.
Hold on, let me see. Timer, clock. Nope, nope. Don't have that on there. Nope. I have a stopwatch. I have a stopwatch. Hold on. You know what, Marky Darton? You're killing my soul. Hold on. Da-da, da-da, da-da.
I can do it. I have my phone out.
You have your phone? Okay, I was trying to do it on my watch. Perfect. Somebody else got it. Great. All right. I'm muting now.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
So the couple of beats I need to get first, what I'm covering, persuasive speech on convincing people to play Dungeons and Dragons. It's going to be given to a group of basically like my coworkers, peers, friends, so 10 to 15 people, probably in one of our common spaces here, either in my barracks or at work, just small talk kind of thing. Yeah, so a bunch of people around the same age range as me. I think that about
Yeah.
hits the wickets.
You said barracks.
Yeah.
What branch?
Marine Corps.
Oh, sweet.
So I think that about hits everything. So I can either just kind of hit go on my own, or if somebody wants to count me down, I'm not opposed to either one.
I'll go ahead and count you down.
All right.
5, I guess. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You and your companions are walking down the street. You decide to take a shortcut through an alley. About halfway down the alley, you see 4 to 5 men come out from behind various dumpsters and piles of boxes and garbage bags. They stand before you, and the man who looks as if he's in charge of these guys looks at all of you and says, "Give me all the money you've got in your pockets." You're being mugged. As you look to the end of your table, your dungeon master, with a rather evil grin on his face, looks at all of you and says simply, "Roll for initiative." Good evening, my name is Brantley Grosscost, and today I'm going to discuss with you why you should play Dungeons & Dragons, commonly referred to as D&D. So what is D&D? Well, to put it simply, it's a role-playing game. You have dice, like the ones I have in my hand here, a character sheet, pencil, some paper. The Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game is about storytelling in the world of swords and sorcery. It shares elements with childhood games of make-believe. Like those games, D&D is driven by imagination. It's about picturing that towering castle beneath the stormy night sky and imagining how a fantasy adventurer might react to the challenges that scene presents. Now, that is pulled straight out of the player's handbook. And a group of you and your friends, as small as 3 or as big as 8 to 10, go on an adventure role-playing as your characters, and your dungeon master, or DM, is the catalyst through which you experience the majority of the story. You can think of him as like your narrator or moderator. The dungeon master is the creative force behind a D&D game. Why play D&D? I can imagine that's what some of you are probably thinking right about now. Well, my first answer is simply, why not? Give it a try, right? If you don't like it, fine, put it down, move on to something else. But if you do enjoy it, that's where the magic really begins. And some of my favorite memories playing D&D are with my friends around the table, regaling our mighty stories and the hilarious moments alike. I've been playing the game for about 8 years now. I've played at a handful of different tables with a handful of different ways of approaching the game. Dungeons & Dragons is called the ultimate role-playing game for a reason, and I'm not making that line up. It's literally on the cover of the player's handbook. You can be whatever you want to be. Want to play a human fighter named Greg? Sure, go for it. What about a gnome cleric on a holy mission to save the world? Absolutely. Or maybe you just want to be a simple bard telling stories in a tavern that's always dreamed of being one of the stories that it's about. The possibilities are endless. The only factor that can limit your ability to have fun playing this game is your own imagination. The barrier to entry is so low that anyone can play it with a little guidance and assistance from your dungeon master, because that's what they're there for, and maybe a YouTube video or two if you're still a little confused about something. But what about the rules to the game? Oh, yeah, there are a lot of rules, all right? How the game functions, how your characters play, etc., etc. But what's awesome about that is that the rules are merely just a reference guide for your dungeon master. He can either adhere to them to a T, or they can, figuratively speaking, throw the book out the window and create their own set of rules. A game of D&D is exactly that, a game. And the world, story, characters, and rules are all yours and your dungeon master's to interpret and change as deemed necessary. Now, can this lead to chaos at the table once in a while and spark an argument? Well, yeah, it happens, but that's something that you guys work through with some conversations. The secret we should never let the game masters know is that they don't need any rules. Now, that's a quote from Gary Gygax. And Gary Gygax isn't just some random dude that plays the game. He actually wrote some of the first edition books and onward back when D&D was first generated, right? And if the guy who literally wrote the books is saying that you don't need rules or that they're optional, well, then the world is your oyster. The rules can be whatever you want. Now, the next thing, how do we play a game if we don't have a story? That's another great question. You have two choices. You can either pick option A, which is buy or use a pre-made story or a module, as they're called, like this one I have right here. Icewind Dale, The Rime of the Frost Maiden. This is a pre-made story, right? It has pre-made quests, characters, culture, everything that your players need to know as you guide them through it. Or you can take option B, make up your own story. Now, does that require a little bit more legwork on the people involved? Yes, because they have to hatch the entire story themselves. They don't have anything to go off of other than their own pop culture references that they want to build off of. They could build their entire world themed off of Lord of the Rings if they wanted to. It's their choice. Now, I've seen it before with homebrewed campaigns, and some of my favorite campaigns have been the homebrewed ones. And homebrew is just basically, I made it myself kind of thing, right? And those have ended up being the most fun for me, but they also end up being the most chaotic because you literally never know what comes next. Half the time, the dungeon master doesn't know what comes next because you could completely decide to disregard everything that they're suggesting to you and trying to point you in the direction of, and you could go take a completely different route. That's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it fun. Role-playing games are just an organic, improvised space for storytelling. This was said by Matt Mercer. Now, for those of you that are big in the gaming community, he's an American voice actor with a lot of presence in that realm of things. But he's not just a voice actor. He's also a very popular face in the D&D community. He runs a popular stream on the internet called Vox Machina. And himself and a bunch of his voice actor friends, they all run their own campaign. And this has kind of helped to push D&D into the forefront of things, as it's probably one of the most viewed on the internet. And it's so popular, it's even become a TV show on Amazon Prime. So one moment they're sitting there at the table playing D&D, and the next they're turning around, and since they're all voice actors, they're literally voicing their own characters for their show. If you had to watch something for D&D to get a context of what's going on with it, highly recommend watching that. And something you might see if you go watch Vox Machina or any other D&D streamers out there, you'll see these big, pretty set pieces with dice towers and fancy maps and all this other stuff. I cannot stress this enough. You need absolutely none of that to have a good game of D&D, because everything that you need is right up here. My favorite campaign, we drew our maps on printer paper and just taped it all together. We made dice towers out of 2x4 wood and leftover crushed velvet from one of our friends' arts and crafts project that they were doing. And then we used bottle caps as our tokens to mark who we were and who our enemies were. First and foremost, Dungeons and Dragons is only as fun as you allow it to be in your mind. You have to imagine the scene that you're in. Really put yourself in your character's shoes as if you were reading a book, because it's a story. It's your story and no one else's. The last thing I'll leave you with is that it doesn't matter whether you've never played this game in your life or that it's your first time hearing about it. D&D is an engaging game that has all the things a fantasy story and game needs: romance, deceit, strategy, war, heroes, and unexpected underdogs, and characters that you will grow to love and attach to. Role-playing games are a contest in which the players usually cooperate as a group to achieve a common goal rather than to compete to eliminate one another from play. Role games bring players together in a mutual effort. Thank you. Sorry,
All
running
right,
out of breath there. I forgot to breathe.
8:29.
I'm over. I slowed down.
Mm. All right, so you do your good and bad, and then we can wrap this up.
So the good, I think it flowed pretty well from point A to point B all the way to Z. I think I did what I wanted to. The visuals, I had more. I had like an old character sheet laying around. I just couldn't find a spot to weave that in there. I think eye contact was good. I stuck to my normal, very animated self when I talk. I want to say that I had pretty good variance in like tone and delivery. But as far as, excuse me, as far as things that I could improve upon, once again, pacing. Sometimes I slow down a little bit more than I need to because I've got this like little tick in my head since I'm an instructor. So I'm teaching people who know nothing about what I do how to do what I do. So I end up slowing down a little bit more than I probably need to. And then also I type everything out, but then I almost don't use it at all. I'm very much so like a off the cuff kind of person. So those like little pauses that you see me do here and there, that's me just like trying to put my train of thought back on the rails. So I think pacing and not losing my train of thought for once are the two things that I really still need to improve upon when it comes to speaking in a public forum. You're muted, I'm sorry.
I hear it all the time. So if you're finished, if that was your final critique, self-critiques and self-review, then I guess we're all done here. We can I'll send the video to everyone. Thank you, Sarah, for teaching us as you watch this video. Thank you everybody else for showing up. Give me just one moment so I can do the final loop around so I can show everybody who's still sitting here. He was sitting here next to the computer, which was great. But then he ran to load laundry. He was following your lead, Chelsea. Just give me a moment. Let me holler for him again. He's still here. You see him over my shoulder. Okay. All right.
Perfect.
We got the final loop around. See, we moved around the house, but that's neither here nor there. So, okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again. Have a good night. Best of luck on your next course.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great one.
You too. Night.
Night.